The presidency yesterday attacked former President Olusegun Obasanjo over the latter's New Year open letter where he openly endorsed the presidential candidate of the Labour Party LP, Mr. Peter Obi, for the February 25th election. Obasanjo had, in the letter, told Nigerian youths that the forthcoming election was their turn to take their destiny in their hands by voting for Mr. Obi, and made scathing remarks against the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, reacting to the former president's statement that Nigerians were living in hell under Buhari's government. The presidency described Chief Obasanjo as a frustrated person who is morally dirty to criticize the present administration. The presidency, in a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Malam Gabasheu, said, "As we said some times back, Mr. Obasanjo's tenure between 1999 to 2007 represented the dark days of Nigeria's democracy due to a slew of assaults on the constitution." It premised its reaction on four grounds, saying former President Obasanjo is so well known to all that no one needs to describe who he is. It continued, "One is that he will not stop attacking President Muhammadu Buhari because the former president won't stop being jealous of anyone who beats him to a new record in the nation's development process. President Buhari is ahead of Chief Obasanjo in all fields of national development, and to do that is a cardinal sin to Obasanjo, whose hallucinations tell him that he is the best ever to lead Nigeria and there will never be another one better than him. President Buhari just completed a world-class edifice that is the second Niger Bridge. After 3 decades of failed promises, it is now awaiting commissioning. Obasanjo laid the sod for the bridge in the first term as elected president and work never started. When he sought re-election for his second term in office, he returned to the site to turn the sod for the bridge the second time. When the OB of Onitsha, forthright and scholarly, reminded him that he had done this in the past, Obasanjo told the foremost Southeast traditional ruler that he was a liar in the full presence of the chiefs and oracles in his palace. Obasanjo lied to the Southeast to get their votes. President Buhari didn't get their votes but built the bridge because he believed it is the right thing to do. The presidency also said Obasanjo was frustrated because of the global recognition and accolades President Buhari is getting, especially his insistence that the nation's constitution should be respected as regards tenure of government. 2. President Buhari has been bagging awards and encomiums for trying to do that which the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria says a leader should do: serve 1 or a minimum of 2 terms and go. President Buhari has been stating and restating that he will supervise a better election than the one that brought him to the office and to leave us as and when due. Having tried tenure elongation and failed, Obasanjo's fictitious mind must be telling him that he's the one under attack. But he's not on President Buhari's radar because experience has shown, especially lately in the West Africa, where there have been at least 3 successful coups and many other failed attempts, that third term or tenure elongation is a recipe for political instability. Furthermore, the totality of African leaders appointed President Muhammadu Buhari the anti-corruption champion of the continent. You can't be the anti-corruption champion if you meddle and bend the rules, carrying the putrid responsibility of what happened to national assets in the name of privatization as documented by the Nigerian Senate in 2011. As an insight, the Aluminum Smelter Company of Nigeria, Alscon, which was set up with $3.2 billion, was sold to a Russian firm, Rusal, for a paltry $130 million. Delta Steel, which was set up in 2005 at a cost of $1.5 billion was sold to Global Infrastructure for just $30 million. Alscon got back $120 million for the dredging of the Imo River, which was never carried out. 3. Which is linked to the one above, is the growing profile of President Buhari as the champion of democracy, not only at home and in the West African sub-region, but in the African continent as a whole. As president, Obasanjo destabilized internal democracy by orchestrating impeachment after impeachment of governors who were not compliant with his highly imperial administration. The former president deployed federal machineries to remove governors Joshua Dariye, Rashidi Ladoja, Peter Obi, Chris Ngige, and Ayo Fayose from office. They were the then governors of Plateau, Oyo, Anambra, and Ekiti, respectively, unjustly removed them using the police and secret service under his control. Under him, a 5-man legislature met at 6 a.m., impeached Governor Dariye in Plateau. 18 members out of 32 removed Governor Ladoja of Oyo from office. In Anambra, Abga's Governor Obi was equally impeached at 5 a.m. by members who did not meet the 2/3 requirement by the Constitution. Lawmaking powers of the Rivers State Legislature were transferred to the Federal Parliament to punish Governor Amechi for shifting his political alliance. Moreover, he damned the Supreme Court and unlawfully held back Lagos state revenues due for federal sources on account of his pettiness against the then Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu. On the other hand, in Washington a few weeks ago, US President Joe Biden, at a meeting with African heads of state and government, described President Buhari as a champion of democracy and a role model for the leaders of African states. Clearly, Obasanjo has become even more jealous by adopting a vengeful attitude. The presidency further said, 4. To say that frying pan to fire is the situation in Nigeria at this time should be read to mean a personal experience to him, and we know what that means. Hell for Obasanjo is when any president that comes after him refuses to be his puppet, to do as he wishes on all matters and at all times. He then keeps attacking out of frustration. Obasanjo's vengeful attitude towards President Buhari is the height of selfishness and little short of moral squalor.